Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Blanca Tatzer, and I am the moderator of today's third Pan-European Conference on Digital Education. I'm very excited to see all the best practices that we are going to listen to today. We are going to listen to 5 practices. First, I would like to present you the presenters, so our speakers. Okay, so first of them, welcome Jess and Rebecca. You are going to be the first, but now we would like to hear a little bit about you.
So hi everyone, my name is Rebecca Reid and I'm a senior leader at Harris Aspire and Harris Professional Skills Sixth Form, and that's a school in London for 15 to 19-year-olds. And as well as leading the English team, I also lead on community engagement, which includes parental engagement and also enrichment.
Hi, and I'm Jess Hughes. I'm Programme Lead at The Difference. We're a charity who are aiming to reduce school exclusions by supporting senior leaders to make schools more inclusive. And before that, I was a teacher and senior leader at School 21, a school in Stratford, where I led on professional learning, bits of curriculum and PBL.
You're coming from the field. Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And next is with us Enrico, who
Hello.
is here on behalf of Laura, that we actually announced in our program, but now Enrico is more than welcome here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am Enrico Tomelleri. I work in my school in Verona, Italy since 2005. I am a teacher of religious science and the coordinator of activities in our school.
Great, thank you very much. Felicia, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
My name is Felicia Ion. I am a social education teacher and coordinator of educational programs in primary school. I have been in education for 19 years. I grew up in my school. I'm from Romania.
Okay, thank you very much. It's really nice to hear that you actually studied at your school and now you are a teacher there. Great, and welcome also Kelsie.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Very happy to be here. My name is Kelsie and Kerwin. I am representing ESMOVIA. We are a business that works with mobility and training. So we receive students from all across the European Union here in the lovely city of Valencia, Spain, and we also receive teachers. So I specifically am the content creator, the strategic developer, and the coach and the emotional intelligence assistant with our students. So we're consistently putting things into practice and then evaluating how they are working for the students.
Looking forward to hear about your work. Thank you. And Delora.
Hello everyone, my name is Rosu Delora. I am a teacher of English in Romania, in a small school in the southeastern part of Romania. I've been teaching English for over 24 years, and I'm also an activity coordinator in my school. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much. And now let's see what are we going to do today. So we will have 5 presentations, and the first one is brought to you by Rebecca and Jess on how designing PBL to serve the community can grow social emotional skills, a very important topic. Then the second presentation, welcoming activities for VET students, that is going to be presented by Enrico. Thank you very much. The third presentation, School, a House of Well-Being by Felicia Ion. Then we are going to listen to Kelsie Ann, Social Inclusion Theory. And in the end, the development of English competences and students' motivation with eTwinning projects. I have to say that for this conference, we are really grateful to one successful Erasmus Plus project, K2 project, that we are part of. This is a project 3H, Head, Heart, and Hand. In this project, we are collecting best practices on preventing early school leaving, actually. And our project coordinator is inviting us to collect practices on 4 different topics. And these are like, to collect best practices on self-directed learning, on problem-based learning, about social emotional competences, then best practice on well-being and motivation at school, and best practice on welcoming and guidance activities. As you might remember, that we also, when we wrote you an email and invitation to this conference, we also invited you to contribute your teaching practice, and you are still welcome to do so. And for this, we opened a poster session for this conference in which you can contribute your best practice within those 4 categories. I will put all those links into the chat so you will not miss them. But now I will just like to say just maybe a few more words before I give my words to Jess and Rebecca. First, welcome, really welcome to ask questions. So if you have any questions for our presenter, you just write the question into the chat, yeah? And then I will ask them after the presentation and they will provide the answer. This is first information. The second information is information about the certificate of attendance. If you would like to have a certificate of attendance on this conference, please see the description of the video below, and there you have a link. You just click on the link, provide your correct data, so name, surname, and email address, and then you receive immediately the certificate of attendance. But be careful, because the link is valid only for 24 hours. And I think that's it. I hope I didn't forget something. If I forgot something, then you will tell me in the chat, I'm sure. Really welcome all of you. Already almost 200 people are with us today. So thank you very much. And now I give my word to Jess and Rebecca. Once again, welcome. You can share the slides and present your valuable work to us.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hopefully you can all see our slides, and we've just shared our screen. Great. So in this session, we're going to share how designing PBL projects that intentionally serve the community creates brilliant opportunities to enhance, practice and reflect on a range of skills, including social awareness, collaboration and relationship building and problem solving, ultimately with the aim of developing both self-efficacy and self-esteem. And then we'll both present a case study each, a project as an example of how this might look in practice.
Yeah, great. Yeah, next slide. Thank you. Perfect. So yeah, as Ron Berger argues in his An Ethic of Excellence, we can't first build student self-esteem and then focus on the work. It's actually through their work that their self-esteem will grow. So we think that really good PBL will inevitably grow the self-esteem and self-efficacy of students as they produce beautiful, crafted work that they're proud of, which is also of value to the communities. We're arguing that the key to achieving this lies in the project design, and particularly in the authentic audience, who you design your project to be of service to. An easy way to consider this when designing your project also comes from Ron Berger, when he speaks about the hierarchy of audiences. And this is where he explains that most learning opportunities that students get in school actually don't move beyond the bottom 3 on this pyramid. But for great PBL, we really need to push beyond this. He argues that the higher up this hierarchy you go, the greater the motivation and engagement for students. But we also argue that pushing for the very top of this hierarchy of audience to be of service of the world can support us in actively cultivating self-esteem. And we think this can be done by setting our projects within the community and making them for the community.
So I guess the question then is, how do you actually do that? So essentially, we think that designing authentic, community-centered projects creates a really unique set of conditions for student experience. So it's almost like a petri dish, like a really ripe breeding ground with perfect conditions for growth of socio-emotional skills. So why authentic and why community-based? Well, this for us means that the following conditions are in place. So first up, there's an element of risk. So you're in the real world doing real world work. There's suddenly a reason to get it right. There's also forced collaboration. So the project is innately linked to the community and working with the community. And finally, there's also social engagement. So the project, as Rebecca explained, is intended to be of servitude and care and respect, and tolerance are grown. And with these 3 things in place, in turn, this means students can practice skills really explicitly, like resilience, decision-making and problem solving, and sort of self-regulatory skills as well, and self-awareness and self-reflection. And ultimately, growing these leads to increased opportunities for greater self-efficacy and then greater self-esteem. So what we're going to do is we're going to each talk you through a project example where having an authentic community audience and doing work for the community has driven this kind of socio-emotional learning for students. And we'll point out some of the sort of key design features along the way. One's a project that Rebecca's doing at the moment, and one's one that I did a few years ago.
Yeah, so as Jess said, these projects take place in very different contexts. So in my context, the project is delivered through the enrichment program to 200 students aged between 15 and 18. They have varied reading ages between 9 and 16 years, and a range of educational and life experiences. What we found is something common that students seem to share is possibly a little bit of disenchantment with education. And some of those pupils have even been excluded from school at one time or another, or are excluded at the moment. There are 12 enrichment teachers who teach this project, and they all have a range of specialisms. So from construction to media, for example, and students participate in enrichment for about an hour every week. So we invited a range of community groups. Our project's targeted towards a range of community groups from our area in South London, but also school staff and parents. There are 3 events as part of this project. There's a winter fair, there's opening a community garden, and finally, in the summer term, there'll be a summer concert. Students contributed to these events in a range of ways, including through making crafts, baking, designing stalls to kind of run at the winter fair using recycled materials where possible, building a garden, and then also contributing towards the organising of a concert. And the core skills that we were trying to kind of develop in students were creative making, but also collaboration, resilience, independence, and leadership, those skills that are really essential for sort of working and living. So the first, I'm going to talk through the sort of 4 design principles that underpin this work. So the first thing that we wanted to do, was expose our students to new things. Because we feel that through being exposed to new things, students realise that they're capable of change and growth, which in turn keeps them open to new opportunities in life. So in enrichment, as I've said, students participate in 3 school events over the year: a winter fair, opening a community garden, and a summer concert. And to contribute to these events, they have a choice of modules that they can take. For example, in the winter fair project, students were tasked with either making a product, baking something to sell, or running a stall. And through these modules, students get to try 6 modules over the year. And all of these have a community focus. So we built in opportunities for students to reflect on their key learning as they were kind of doing these modules, and assess their progress towards developing the skills that are linked to lifelong learning, as I've said. So yeah, independence, resilience, and creativity. Another thing that we really wanted to work on was encouraging togetherness. So through working with others, we know that students feel included, especially if they're working together towards a common goal. So in this module, pictures that you can see on your screen now, the class produced, they worked together to produce one thing that they all liked. So in this example, they were tasked with making something we could sell on a stall. So this required obviously group and self-reflection about what they all liked, and in the process, other things that they had in common. It also requires students to kind of consider the unique attributes of the school, their local community, but also how they wanted to be viewed by others at this particular event. And another part of togetherness will be inviting students' parents to join us at the winter fair and see all the work that they've produced. The third design principle is play. So we feel that play and creating is not just about having fun, but about experimenting, taking risks, and testing boundaries. So when planning the models, we looked explicitly for opportunities to kind of move away from more traditional learning styles towards approaches that were more democratic, flexible, and where student voice was really, really important in decision making. So for example, we established protocols to enable students to take the lead on discussions and debates, and provided opportunities at the end to allow students to reflect on actually how successful they were in playing together. And this student voice, this kind of increased student voice, an opportunity to shape the curriculum, help students develop a positive attachment to school, but also the agency and the kind of flexibility that they need to go on and live successful lives in the future. And the final design principle is resilience. So we feel that resilience is hugely important because obviously if you can change your attitude and how you respond and react to difficulty, then you are more likely to be successful. And so in this case, because we haven't done a project like this before, and I think there is an element of risk-taking when you're kind of coming up with any PBL project because you have ultimately less control, we really need to work hard to keep students motivated when they don't know kind of what the outcome is going to look like, or indeed whether their hard work will pay off. And so as staff, this requires us to show up for students and to hold ourselves accountable for ensuring that the events happen and that there's always an authentic audience who can receive students' work.
Thanks. And the second project we're going to present is slightly different to the first. So Rebecca's was with 200 students. This one was with just 14 students. So we wanted to show you 2 quite different ways to do a community-centred project. So this project was one I ran a few years ago with just 14, 12 and 13-year-olds. So they just joined secondary school. All the students in the group had a range of educational needs or speech, language and communication needs. And their reading ages were between about 7 to 11 years. And this was within the curriculum, which again is slightly different from Rebecca's, which is based in enrichment. and it was with myself, an English teacher, and a colleague who was a maths teacher. So it was an English and maths centered project. So the audience, the community audience from this project was a collection of elderly community groups from our local area, which is E15, a postcode in London. And the project was to create a recipe book, which you can see in the top right-hand corner. It was called Cook E15, all about our local people, printing their recipes and telling their stories. So it would sort of tell the culinary story of the local area. Our exhibition was a book launch evening with members of the community that had live cookery demos from the book. And as I said, this was actually within the curriculum. So the core skills from maths were to do with ratio and scale and cost. And from an English perspective, we're focusing on non-fiction writing. So the 4 things I've picked out to talk about from this project, the first is talk. So this project relied really heavily on the students' ability to talk to people. And so we used it to actively build what we call the socio-emotional strand of oracy. So developing the ability to connect and build relationships and build trust through conversation. And with this group of students with speech, language and communication needs, this was particularly essential learning. So we built in loads of explicit practice for this. Students received feedback and gave feedback on their talk, practiced before they went out and spoke to the community, and their talk was assessed and fed back on throughout the project. A second big element, which is central to all great PBL, but we feel is core to also growing socio-emotional skills, is critique and redraft. So yeah, great PBL has multiple drafts of the student-generated product, and in this case, that was our cookbook. And I felt that critique and redraft relied on heavily and actively built on the ability to learn collaboratively and to give and receive feedback for growth. So again, we really structured this learning and made it very metacognitive. So we had modelled critiques that students talked about and learnt from, practice critiques, and they had feedback on their own critique skills, which eventually was part of their overall project mark. My third thing that I think is important is place-based learning. So when planning our project, which was for the community, we looked for opportunities to use the authentic setting of the community itself, beyond the walls of the school, to provide important opportunities for students to build essential skills and confidence in the real world, but within a safe and supportive environment. So this is an example of a photo from a trip where a maths lesson took place in our local supermarket, with students having pre-budgeted, predicted pricing and costed up the shopping lists ahead of their cookery demos. So there were lots of examples of that throughout the project. And my final point is actually quite similar to the last point about resilience that Rebecca made. So I think a project that is of service to the world will naturally force students out of their comfort zone. So it's that element of risk we talked about at the beginning, and it supports them to really take risks, but in a safe way. Our exhibition, for example, students launched the book with a live cookery demo for the community. But what you can't see from this photo is there was really careful practice and support for this, and weeks of critique and redraft, practicing the skills and getting more and more confident with it. And also we built in regular reflection on this element of the project. So reflection on what it felt like to do something that was out of your comfort zone, including at their Viva, so their verbal assessment at the end of the project, where each student was asked about their risk-taking and their confidence journey. And one student in their reflection at the end said this, which I think was a really good example of someone really noticing their own personal growth across the project. And every single student in the group presented their work to a live audience at the end, really taking on that risk. And that is the end of our presentation. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, really. And a big congratulations on your work. I will show you some of the comments. People are saying well done also to you. And Olympia is saying that she is really happy to listen the project about the recipe, because she was doing a similar one with grandparents and their nephews from 4 different countries. Really great, yeah. We have also one question here So Luca is asking, how did you evaluate the success of these two projects, and how did you specifically evaluate if social emotional competences of students increased? So which tools? I will leave the question here because there are 3 questions.
Yeah, really great question. So I'll go first, and then I'll hand over to Rebecca. So for the cooking project that I did, it was assessed in multiple ways. So the core English and math skills were actually assessed through exams. So we created and asked students to sit quite traditional math tests and an English assessment, an unseen English assessment. And then we used that along with the final product in a verbal assessment for each child. So there were the 2 teachers and each child who sat with their exam papers and the copy of the cookbook, and we discussed their growth. And we planned questions that asked them to draw out their skill improvement in both English and maths, but also those socio-emotional competencies. So we asked them to talk about where they'd seen their resilience grow and what had been the hardest point and how they'd overcome it. We did attach scores to this, but that was more for our internal assessment. So then when we went on to the next project, we knew what we wanted to really develop and create more opportunities for the students. I mean, I think it's basically very hard, isn't it, to measure socio-emotional growth? But yeah, that's how we tried to do it.
Yeah, and I think the short answer is we're measuring the success of our projects in a way that's a little bit more simple, because obviously, unlike it's different from Jess's, and it's sort of created with the express purpose of doing slightly different things. It's also extracurricular, so it takes place outside of the core subject.
And 200 students, whereas I have 14.
Yeah. So we did a student survey at the beginning, which sort of captured students' attitudes and feelings about school. At the end of every lesson, students fill in a reflection. So they reflect on what they feel they've learned, which kind of core skill they felt that they've developed in that particular lesson, and how well they felt that they kind of participated as a group. And that booklet kind of remains with students until the end of the project. So they're kind of constantly reflecting on both what they've learned, but I suppose how well they've learned those things, if that makes sense. And then the plan is after every project to do an attitudinal survey to see if A, attitudes towards school have changed and shifted, and B, whether sort of enrichment was a kind of direct kind of contributor towards those attitudes becoming more positive, possibly.
It's really great to see how you practice actually growth mindset in the field. We have one more question by Vesna. So do you practice these activities also maybe for kindergarten children?
So we're both secondary
That's
school
really
teachers, but my previous school was actually for 4-year-olds to 18-year-olds, and we did project-based learning in the community with all year groups. It just looked slightly different for children who were 4 years old. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. That question automatically made me think of play and play research, which I suppose is something that we associate with primary school possibly more than we do adolescence. And actually, a lot of the really good play research has early childhood as its context. But something that I was really interested in when designing this project was thinking about kind of what creative play looked like for adolescents, when I suppose it's something that maybe in, I don't know, the modern Western world, it seems to run sort of counter to notions of growing up and what that should entail. So I think it's interesting. I mean, we don't have a kindergarten here, but I was definitely drawing on those kind of early childhood ideas of play and seeing if they had sort of if they had application for adolescents. And I think what I found is they definitely do, and adolescents definitely benefit from being engaged in creative play, and that was something that was quite uplifting to realize.
Okay. Thank you a lot, and once again we are grateful that you shared your experience with us and also answered all the questions. Thank you. We continue now with the second presentation. Enrico will show us some of the experience that they have in your school about the welcoming activities in the vocational education, because sometimes it's really hard for students to start. So you will share with us some practices that you perform in your school. Yeah, thank you and welcome. A microphone, and then we will hear you.
Okay, that's okay. You can hear me?
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Hi, everybody. I would like you to present our school, CSF Stimmatini in Verona, and some of the activities we do here as regarding promoting our school, welcoming new students, feeling them inside our community, and giving all the community wellness to promote inclusion. Our school is a professional school in which we have different courses. We have a service, bar and cooking course, in which students learn to cook different dishes, serve them, and work at the bar. Then the so-called agroalimentare course, in which students learn to prepare pizza, bread, pasta, cakes, and ice creams. And finally, we have the multimedia course, in which students learn about the multimedia world, preparing videos, websites, photos, and graphics items, and in general, things like this. Student courses last 3 years, and then, if they want, they can have a 4th year of specialization in every sector. During autumn and winter, we organize the so-called Porte Aperte. These are some days in which students are welcome to visit our school, new students. We present the different opportunities coming here, presenting the restaurant service and the bar courses, the multimedia course, and of course, for students who want to become bakers, ice producers, pastry chefs, or pizza maker. During these days, young students come here with their families to see the school and to listen to how it works, philosophy, our school, daily routines, timetables, uniforms, rules, and so on. And after that, we have organized also the so-called mini job for every course of our school. That is that young students can try the effective experience to be here preparing something to eat, looking to the preparation of coffees, preparing table for lunch or breakfast, or working on the PC in the multimedia course. Small group of entering students come to our schools and they find here our teacher of a specific area and they try a practical experience. Sometimes our teachers are helped by some of the other students who make examples of activities we do in our school. These potential students stay here for 3 or 4 hours, and after the 2 experiences, we prepare a report collecting all the information to see how every student lived this experience in our school, if he liked it or disliked it, and why. This is particularly meaningful after mini job also for us. There is also a special project in the University of Verona, so-called Progetto Ponte, which would be a bridge. We invite 2 or 3 students who have difficulties of learning and staying together, who simply have a certification, and with the collaboration of a trainee of the university, we organize an afternoon here, a very short experience with cooking something, making them a short text to see how we can help them regarding their difficulties. For young students with difficulties, we have a strong relationships with families and other social services, psychologists, and so on, to have the best profile of them in order to help them introducing to school as better as possible. As regarding welcoming activities, we organize welcoming for students of the 1st year before the beginning of the school. They come some days before, so we can have more time and we are more concentrated in welcoming them. In these mornings, we divide these new students in some groups, which are going to be the new 1st classes. They make knowledge activities, they introduce themselves, each other, they have a mini break together, and finally they play free outside in the schoolyard so that we can check the dynamics among them. In order to help our students, we have an equipe of specialized people, psychologists, educators. We call them the educational service. These teachers enter the classes helping students in different ways, listening to their problem if they need. This is an active service that matches with the normal school activity every day. Thinking about wellness, we distinguish between the school staff and the wellness for students. For the whole school staff, there is an annual building, and this year it was about the emotional sphere and feeling and how we can interact with them. It's very important that every person feels included despite his role in order to do a good job for educational community. To add some wellness to students' life at school, we organize every year some meeting to introduce them to adolescents, and this year we are going to organize an entire week, a special week with activity also outside, for example, some experience of volunteering. Thank you for your attention. This was the description of our welcoming activities.
Thank you very much, Enrico, for sharing with us all the welcoming activities. I think you will have a visit because one of our participants asked, where are you coming from? Because she would like to visit your school. So I told her, so Olympia Enrico comes from vocational school Stimmatini in Verona, which is a beautiful city. Yeah? Do you accept teachers for job shadowing?
Yes, we also accept. They can contact our school. They find the site of our school in on the net, CSF Stimmatini. We can meet. We can arrange to meet. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. My question is something about the welcoming activities. So did you actually introduce new... So how long is this tradition of having welcoming activities in your school? Because if I remember my school, we didn't have anything. So yeah, how long?
I work here since 2005, and I've always seen these activities. It's a tradition about 30 years, I guess, before I was coming. It's very important to feel students, to make students feel accepted, and to let them know how the school is and how it works. And it's very important for them and also for us to have new students.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you, but not all the schools have this practice. So really congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you for your good work and for sharing your experience. But we have one more question, if you allow us. I saw this question now. The question is, I would like to ask if the students want to work in the kitchen. So if they are willing to work, yeah. In the kitchen.
The most like to work in the kitchen. I have also to say that after school, not all the students are going to work in the kitchen, but the most like to do it.
Okay, great. So thank you very much also for your answer.
You're welcome.
And now, Felicia. Hello
again.
Everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, this is your start.
Yes, just
great.
a moment.
So the title of her presentation is School, a House of Well-Being, which is a really promising one. You can just open your presentation. And
hello, everybody. My name is Felicia. I am a social education teacher from Professor Ion Vișoiu Secondary School from Romania. Today, I am going to present you a project, the school, a house of well-being. The purpose of the project was to demonstrate that by implementing a program that promotes well-being, we obtain a balanced, efficient educational climate with good and very good learning results and an improvement in collaboration and cooperation between colleagues. Objectives was increasing school performance and the quality of interpersonal relationship by promoting a culture of well-being at school, implementing well-being at class level to allow students to get to know better the most important person in their life, themselves, opportunity to build and develop a skill set that will enable students to make informed decisions about themselves and others, their mental health, personal life, and social emotional development. Specific activities and encouraging, excuse me, I have many emotion, encouraging, stimulating self-esteem, valuing students at risk. Target group was directly studied of the Professor of Vișoiu Secondary School, professors, parents, indirectly community members. Was many activities. One of them, counseling class, my happy hour, be a child with your dream, or sheet for students to identify and realize their dreams. Different activities, positive think, increasing self-confidence, etc., that create opportunities for students to dialogue and communicate about themselves and their relationship with others, to identify ideas and solutions for involvement in personal life, school, and community. At the end of the class, the students wrote down on a flip chart how they felt today at school. These are a picture from their activity. Another picture. Conflict management, through the partner association directly. Workshops were held to raise awareness of the negative effects of bullying on children, to find solutions among students in order to reduce this phenomenon. The Teachers' Council of the class participated in a workshop on conflict management, after which they realized that a close collaboration between all the teachers is a strong point for reducing the phenomenon of violence. The parents are open at these meetings. Moreover, a parent as a lawyer came and spoke to the students about bullying from a legal point of view. These are some pictures with parents and our students. Another activity was well-being club. In my school is a civic club, and the club has a publication. But in this well-being club was many activities, artistic, literary, sports, creation made by students on different occasions in order to promote a culture of well-being. Here we made a move, but I think don't no. Just a moment.
We just lost your presentation, yeah. Okay, now it's back on.
Yeah. Just a moment. I want to see a short movie, but don't. Another activity was anti-violence photography contest. Secondary school students participate in this competition.
Felicia, just a second. Can you just please show the slide, because now we see all of them and it's difficult to follow. Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Another activity was anti-violence photography contest. Secondary school students participate in this competition. The winners were awarded money by Ford Romania. We enjoyed the presence in the jury of the local policemen from our city. Many activities was in this project. Another activity was Be Smart, Don't Be Violent. Sports, various sports activities carried out during breaks to eliminate accumulated energy and stress, or on different occasions to learn fair play, rules, and another activities, participation in the national program Schools Without Bullying, implemented by Save the Children Romania. In these activities, we are implementing numerous workshops were held with teachers, students, and parents to reduce this phenomenon. An anti-bullying working group was formed in the school. An anti-bullying action plan was developed. An analysis of the state of well-being in the school was carried out among students, teachers, teaching staff to see what strategies we will follow. Results: improving school performance, positive changes in school group dynamics, changes in communication, relating, and helping. It was not a difficult process to apply, but not a very easy one either. Develop of an anti-bullying action plan at the school level, numerous creation of the students that beautified the school corridors or become tools used by the police and local and county authorities. It was a very interesting project in our school. We implemented this project in collaboration with local, national, and international institutions. Do you hear me? Hello?
Yes, hello. Hi.
Did you hear me?
Something went wrong?
I think so. I didn't. Do you hear me all
yes,
the time?
Yes, we hear you all the time.
Okay.
We hear you all the time, but now we just lost the presentation.
I don't know what happens.
But you can show us now the last slides if
just a moment,
if that's okay. Yeah, no worries. I know it's hard sometimes. Yeah, okay, I will put here once again, and okay, thank you for the 11th
and these
slide.
are results. Improving schools performance, positive changes in school group dynamics, changes in communication, relating, and helping. It was not a difficult process to apply, but not a very easy one either. Development of an anti-bullying action plan at the school level. Numerous creation of the students that beautify the school corridors or become tools used by the police or local and county authorities. It was a nice project. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you all the time. Don't worry. Yeah, probably something wrong on your. Yeah, probably something wrong on your computer, because on our end everything is all right. Don't worry. Yeah, I saw that you presented the results of the project. Yes. Would you like to say some conclusion?
Yes. Just
okay. I'm sorry, dear participants, but sometimes happens. Yeah.
The well-being in the school among the students improved a lot. Friendship or created, respect or tolerance for diversity, bullying decreased. This was seen in the attitude of the students, but also in the completed questionnaires. Did you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. We hear you.
I have a problem with.
Yeah, probably with you have a problem probably with the sound, but we heard your presentation, and thank you very much. I admired how many activities you organized. Oh my God, the club, the contest. I mean,
yes.
Did you get any funding for that, or was this just
no? It's not financing, but we have many colleagues with civic spirit, and we work very much for our students, for our community, and at first we don't know many things about well-being, but in time we are learning many things about well-being from Romanian specialist. Anca Turcă is a very good specialist from well-being in Romania, and we made many courses, and with work we do many things for our students.
Yeah, really, my deep bow and congratulations for that. And yeah, we have some really great comments. Feli is a hardworking teacher, so probably these are some of your colleagues. You have a lot of support among the participants. So
you are a great team in our school, and we work together, not only together, because big things necessity a lot of work, but team, not only me.
Yeah, teamwork, that's so important. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much, Felicia, for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
So all, dear participants, all the presentations are available in the Facebook group Pan-European Conference on Digital Education. We put their PDF files. You can download them and go through the practices once again, and maybe be inspired by different presentations and different ideas you can find in the teaching cases. Before we continue with Kelsie, I would just like to show you once again the poster session of the conference. So here you are very welcome to upload your teaching practice. Again, the Padlet is divided into the 4 topics that 3H project is promoting: self-directed learning, problem-based learning, well-being and motivation, and also on welcoming activities. So here you have, it's not necessary to upload PDF, PowerPoint presentation, but you can upload in any form that you have. And when you share the teaching practice with us, you can also can earn the certificate of poster presentation. I see that I actually didn't show you the things. No, I showed you. Yeah, that's okay. So that's it. And now, Kelsie Ann, welcome.
Wonderful. Hello. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so Kelsie Ann will present us social inclusion theory. Yes, thank you very much for this. You can just start sharing the screen. Yes, it's here.
Wonderful. Okay, so hello everyone, very happy to be here. I am going to be speaking on social inclusion in the classroom, and I am specifically going to be talking about examples that we have used or worked with here in ESMOVIA. So let's get started. Here's the index about the 10 to 15 minutes that I will be speaking. The first, I would like to give you a quick presentation about ESMOVIA and the public that we work with. Second, I want to talk to you about social inclusion. What does that mean within the classroom? Third, I want to share with you Project Aristotle, a very interesting study done by Google in 2012. I would like to share the importance and the relevance of that in the classroom today. And last but certainly not least, I think the most important, I am here to make my presentation very practical. So I have take-homes that you can put in your backpack of resources for the end of this session today. So starting here with the practical social inclusion within ESMOVIA. So first, let me share with you a little bit about ESMOVIA. So ESMOVIA, we like to say we're experts, leave it to us, okay? We receive both students and teachers from all across the European Union. So the students that we receive are ages 15, 16 to ages 22. They come here to Valencia from countries all across the European Union to have an internship experience in real life businesses within their sector of relevance. Many different sectors. It could be within cooking, within technology, within renting of houses, anything that they're studying in their country of origin. When they come here, we find them an internship experience. Then they are housed with families and or in apartments if they are of age and can do that. So while they're here, we give for them different experiences. We have often Spanish courses for language learning, that immersion experience, and we also have cultural experiences for them to have an integrated mobility experience here in Valencia, Spain. So these students that we receive come from many different backgrounds. Some of them are vet students, some of them are not, and they come from very different socioeconomic backgrounds. So we have a hub here of a very variety of public that we get to work with. And on the other hand, we receive teachers from the European Union as well. We do professional trainings with these educators on varied topics that are needed within primary and secondary schools. And I hope today to give you a global overview within the context here in ESMOVIA, because I specifically have contact with the students and with the teachers on a day-to-day basis. So I hope that my experience can be of service to you all today. So let's get started with social inclusion. So social inclusion, the idea of social inclusion has 5 different components, as you can see here reflected on the slides. However, today, I want us to focus on sense of identity and shared experiences. So, sense of identity. The things that I'm going to talk about today, the focus is on well-being and motivation within this project. So, sense of identity. What is identity? Identity is something that we need to create consciously within our classrooms for each person to feel like they are a part of the greater identity of that classroom. Often we think that identity is something that just sort of happens. And if we want to be the best educators that we can be, to really create a safe place where our students feel like they are a part of the team, we need to do this consciously with different steps. So I want to share with you a concept from Tony Robbins in the coaching world. Tony Robbins shares with us that we have 6 psychological needs. They're very similar to the triangle of Maslow, but a little different because they have to do with psychologically how we're feeling emotionally and mentally and socially. I want to share with you those 4. The first one is certainty. The second one is variety. The third one is significance. And the fourth one, is love and connection. So from a psychological coaching standpoint, identity is a psychological need to make a connection. So if we identify as athletic, psychologically, we will do habits that match with being athletic. So if we identify with a certain group of people, our actions will match so that we can have that identity. So within the classroom, how do we do this? Within the classroom, we want to focus on significance and love and connection. Within identity, we have values. What do we care about in this classroom? What's important to all of us? Fun, communication, respect, etc., etc. We want to know, why are we together? What is the reason we're together? Why are we a group of people? We want to know where we're going, our vision. We want to have specific roles of what each person does within that group in the classroom. We want to know everyone's name and make sure that everyone knows each other's names. That's part of your identity. We want to have specific habits that we do together every Monday or every Thursday. And we want to have smaller identities within the classroom. I will speak more on this and give you concrete examples of how you can do this. But the first part to social inclusion is to have a very specific, defined identity that all of us agree upon. So now let's move on to shared experiences. Within this concept of social inclusion, I'm focusing on sense of identity and shared experiences. So for everyone to feel included in your classroom, we need to have shared experiences, especially after COVID. This is very important for all of us to share and feel like we're understood and feel like we are not the only ones that are having a hard time. We are not the only students that had a failure and are feeling frustrated. We are not the only ones that might have something going hard at home between their parents, for example. We want to make sure we're sharing experiences. To feel included in a group of people, we need to feel significant and we need to feel connected. We are social beings. We need to know that my experience, I'm not alone. The person next to me or my teacher can understand me. And we also need to place value on these experiences, on the fears, on the frustrations, on the successes. So now I want to talk to you about Project Aristotle, okay? Within social inclusion, Project Aristotle is a very interesting case study to take. Project Aristotle was conducted by Google in the year 2012. And I know that this is now 10 years ago, but the components of Project Aristotle to this day are very easy to implement today with your classrooms and with your teams and even with your families. So there are multiple components of the Project Aristotle. What Google did is they took teams to study which teams were the best. So before Project Aristotle, they had a hypothesis that the best teams are the teams that are the smartest, that have the best IQ, that have the best studies. This was their hypothesis. After they conducted this study, they found that it's not teams or groups of people with the highest IQ. However, it is teams or groups of people with the highest EQ, which means emotional intelligence. Teams or groups of people that have high levels of emotional intelligence, ergo well-being within their teams, do better work, stay together longer, and have better results. So here you can see there are 5 components of what Project Aristotle found to be relevant in a team that stays together or a team that feels included. The first one is psychological safety. The second one is dependability within that team. The third is structure and clarity between the objectives and each person within that team. The fourth is meaning. The team knew why they were a team. They knew why they were doing what they were doing. And the fifth is impact. The team or the group of people or the classroom felt like what they were doing was important. It would have an impact on society or with their friends or with their families. So today, for the sake of time, I would like us to focus primarily on psychological safety. What is psychological safety? Google found that the best teams, the ones that have the highest level of emotional intelligence and social inclusion, are teams that feel safe. What does it mean to feel safe? Psychological safety within a team or within a classroom means I can be myself and I will not be rejected. I will be accepted. I can ask questions. I can talk about stereotypes that I might have. I can make mistakes. I can say stupid things, and no one will laugh at me because it's a safe space. Psychologically, I can say what I'm thinking or feeling. So all of you that are listening right now, I would like you to think about someone you feel safe with. Normally, these are people we love, friends, family members, people we feel we can be ourselves with. If we are able to create this on our teams or in our classrooms, we are going to create or foster an environment where people want to be. Kids want to stay in a place where they feel safe. So why is this project called Aristotle? Because the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. We all know that. If you have a strong team, your results are better than when you have a scattered team. So let's get to the most important part, which is the takeaways, the practical takeaways here of what I can give you for resources. The first resource is here, sense of identity, okay? I wanna give you 2 resources that you can take away and implement tomorrow with your group of students or even with teachers regarding sense of identity. The first one is values education. So I am going to switch here my screen, wonderful, to the list of values that I have here for you, okay? So within values education, what do? We create gardeners within our classroom. Everyone understands in this classroom what is important, and we write it down and we sign it like a contract. So here for all of you lovely educators that are listening, I have a list of values. I have done this with teachers and I have done this with students. You come together and your group of students choose 5 values that are important to them. What is important to us here in this classroom, not outside here in this classroom? Is it important for us to cooperate? Is it important for us to get excited? Is it important for us to be fair, etc., etc.? This is the first takeaway I have for you. The second takeaway within sense of identity is called why. This is an exercise that you can do to help your students understand, why am I studying? Why am I working? Why does it matter? Okay, the motivation behind the why, the reason. Motivation is nothing more than the reason for doing something. That's it. So when we don't have motivation, which are most students, it's because they do not know why they're doing something. They don't understand. It doesn't make sense. So for this activity, I would like to share with you here, it's called seven level deep exercise. How do we do this? Here, you have a specific question, okay? It does not have to be this question. The question can be, why do I care about school? Okay? Why do I want to be a cook? Why do I want to work with cars? What we do is we answer that question with the first thing that comes to mind. There's no right answers here. Then we turn that answer into our next question. For example, what is important to you about becoming successful? My answer could be to create strong connections. My next question, why is it important to you to create strong connections? And then I answer this question, and so on. We do this 7 times, and what we get to is a stronger emotional reason why we're doing what we're doing. This can help with level of motivation when children are confused about what they're doing. Next, shared experiences. So I just gave you 2 examples, practical for sense of identity. Now I want to give you 2 practical examples for shared experiences. The first one is called step in, step out. Here, what we want to do is recognize the similarities and the differences that we have between the members in our group. We want to link our past experiences with our present. So let me show you the example I have here. Step in, step out. We line our students up in a line, in a row, and we say, step in if you have a brother or sister. So those of us that have a brother or sister, step in. Those of us that do not, we stay. Then they come back. Step in if you are an only child. Step in if you like cats, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Doing this activity, it is very visual. Students can see how they are connected through shared experiences with others that are next to them. Second, for shared experiences, certainty. I told you that psychologically, children need certainty. It's one of the psychological needs. It's very difficult after COVID. There is almost no certainty nowadays, especially after COVID. Certainty plummeted. What do I do with students and teachers here in ESMOVIA? I do something that is called happiness jar. So let me show you here happiness jar. What I do with happiness jar is these are questions that I stimulate to the students or to the professors I'm working with about self-awareness, self-motivation, self-confidence, self-esteem. I stimulate these questions for them. What do? They write it, their answer, on a sticky note, and they put it in this jar. We do this with a certainty every Monday, every Thursday, every week. This creates a routine for them. And little do they know, they start asking for this. Are we doing happiness jar? Today's Monday, we're doing happiness jar, right? We're creating certainty for them, and we're also having a shared experience within that team. And last but certainly not least, within psychological safety, my last 2 examples here for you to take away. First one, rules of the game. This is very similar to values. What do? With rules of the game, we decide how we want to play within this classroom. So the different components that we decide on. Why are we here? What do we care about, which are our values? And how are we going to speak to each other? Okay, within this team, within this classroom, we always say, great job. We never say, you're stupid. Okay, I'm sure you already do this as educators. What I want you to do is write it on a piece of paper. we've seen that this has worked here in ESMOVIA. And last but certainly not least, the exercise I See You. I have done this with students and professors here in ESMOVIA. This is a resource that I have. It's called Points of View. Okay, and I share these cards with you because this stimulates very interesting connection for students and teachers. What we do here is conscious empathy work. So through the use of photos, okay, here these are people, okay, or colored photos with words. Okay, we stimulate conversation for the students to talk about. So those are my takeaways. I would like to thank you very much. Gracias. This is thank you in Valenciano. And if you would like to know more about ESMOVIA, the fun things we are doing here, please follow us on ESMOVIA or on Instagram just to see the fun activities that we are working with. We are consistently evaluating and reevaluating how we're doing with constant feedback from teachers and students. So thank you very much for listening. It's such a pleasure to teach all of you.
Thank you very much, Kelsie. Do you have any recipe how to have so much energy? I think we all enjoyed in your energy.
Thank you. I'm very passionate about this, so I love to speak on it.
Yes, yes, you speak with your eyes and with your whole body. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I will show some of the comments. Kelsie is a very inspiring person, full of positive energy. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Practical and useful information.
Amazing.
And we also have one question.
Of course.
So do you think also to involve needs in your school?
Yeah, so we, the students that we work with, youngsters, I have had work specifically outside of ESMOVIA with youngsters, but we normally, the students that we work with are from 16 to 22. So any new information that we're looking to involve with these students, the answer is yes. The experience I have up until now with ESMOVIA, no.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we run to our last presentation. Great job, Kelsie. And I invite Delora. Thank you also for your presentation. And now I don't know how to hide. Okay, here we have. So Delora, Rosu, welcome. She will share with us one valuable presentation about the development of English competences and student motivation with eTwinning projects. I'm sure that you have different experience. Also our participants, some of them work in eTwinning projects, some of them are also ambassadors, but some of them haven't tried eTwinning at all. So I really hope that you will also motivate us to use eTwinning in our teaching practice.
I hope so. Thank you for your invitation. I'm going to share my presentation, and I need a feedback just to make sure that everything is okay and you can see me.
Yeah, here we are. Great. We see the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So today I'm going to have a presentation on the importance of the development of English competencies and students' motivation with the eTwinning project. My paperwork is going to be divided into two parts. The first part has a more theoretical approach, while the second one has a more practical approach with the pictures and photos from my project. These days, our roles as teachers, one of the most important roles that we have today is to look after our students' emotional well-being in order to ensure them a positive learning experience at school. So nowadays, students' well-being is just as important as their academic success. They come from different backgrounds. They are different. Some of them are more resilient and have a greater capacity for emotional intelligence. While others perform better from an academical point of view. However, both sides, a good relationship between students and teachers can facilitate a better environment for learning. So what can we do in order to improve our students' well-being at school? According to OECD Program for International Student Assessment in 2015, our students spent quite a large amount of time in the classroom, either socializing with classmates and interacting with teachers or following their lessons. However, what happens in school as well as at home is an important key to understanding whether our students enjoy a good physical and mental health. We have to consider how happy and satisfied they are with different aspects of their lives, how connected they feel to each other, and the plans that they have for the future. So our duty as teachers is to take into consideration our students' well-being from psychological, physical, social, and cognitive points of view. And of course, develop strategies. The emotional well-being strategies relate to self-awareness and emotional regulation, and we can imply such strategies imply fostering positive language, having clear expectations, and digital citizenship strategies. Social well-being includes strategies includes the extent to which we experience positive relationships and the way we connect to each other. They also reinforce positive social skills such as self-awareness, responsibility, and decision-making. But also using a variety of teaching methods such as discussions and group work projects and works. Cognitive well-being is associated with our students' success, how well they process information and how they make judgments. We can develop it with structured materials and instructions to maximize their working memory. From a physical point of view, our strategy should enable positive health outcomes and include physical safety, security, and health care. So teachers have to coordinate cross-curricular approaches to promote, for example, healthy life habits. Now, if all the strategies that we have talked about are taken into consideration, teachers should focus next on providing motivation for their students and maintain a growth mindset. We can do that by praising them, offering them rewards, focusing on growth, and developing a positive and meaningful relationship with our students at school, and not only at school. From a motivational point of view, we have to create a good climate and build a positive attitude to encourage their learning. And their role as students is to be active and get good knowledge. So the key and the factors for motivation, for a motivational learning process concerns the collaborative learning and communication skills. eTwinning projects are also great ways to motivate students and school and increase their competencies from a language, social, and cultural point of view. Teachers can, of course, develop partnerships with teachers from all over the world. And they don't have to be necessarily English teachers. They can, such projects can be developed in any subject areas. So the cooperation between teachers and students is the base of these projects. Being twinned with a foreign school also encourages cross-cultural exchanges of knowledge, fosters students' intercultural awareness, and improves their communication skills. It is important to remember that students have an active role. They interact, they investigate a lot, they make decisions, and of course they respect each other and learn the 21st century skills. Other benefits of eTwinning projects are that they can get recognition of their national identity, the authentic use and learning of foreign languages. Students virtually travel. And of course, the activities have to be included into the national curriculum, and they are mostly based on ICT, on the web tools, which have to be, of course, used in a meaningful way. Awarded projects use many tools and also achieve a high degree of collaboration among the pupils. These are the two projects that I had the last year in my school. English Beyond the Borders and eTwinner Chefs were both awarded with the National Quality Label from our NSS agency. Teachers who apply for national quality labels and demonstrate their roles and implications as participants can also apply for the European quality label, especially if there are more than 2 participants in the projects that were awarded with such quality labels. Then the next step is to apply for European eTwinning prizes. Web tools can be used in many different ways, and they can be embedded in the twin space so that all the partners, the project partners, can work on them. They can also help us plan and implement collaborative tasks for students. Here I added some pictures of the most important web tools that we used in our projects, Pictramap, Padlet, and others. The online events for mixed teams are also great opportunities to develop our students' language competencies. We can plan different events, set goals. We encourage our students to use English to come up with new ideas, to socialize, and embrace different aspects of cultures. E-books are also important web tools that can greatly contribute to the development of students' imagination. They can use their imagination, be creative, and they feel highly motivated to improve their writing skills. There are also flexible ways for students to get their message out to the readers and build confidence. Writing poems, stories, or videos increase their well-being and self-esteem. They can use music, literature, but other domains as well to express feelings and ideas and develop writing and speaking skills. Other creative web tools that we use in our eTwinning projects were Chatterpix, WordArt, the Lino map, and Padlet. But also coding activities that helped children to develop an appreciation of how well their work was done. It also gave them the chance to become excellent problem solvers and help them along their way in life. They can quickly fix if something goes wrong and try it again in different ways until they get the perfect solution. So eTwinning project activities usually include such activities, and there should be at least 2. Games can also be used in eTwinning projects by teachers in order to promote our students' learning of the language they use in a project. They work very well with competitive students who can follow project tasks. They become more motivated to learn, they participate in set tasks, take responsibility of their own learning. So games can help increase student participation and foster their emotional learning and motivate them to take risks. Google Slides are largely visual, and they contain pictures, props, illustrations, and videos, and they can also help our students to get their message across. They offer great opportunities for our students to share, edit, collaborate, and adapt their own resources. In conclusion, I think that eTwinning projects are great opportunities for all project members to participate, and they imply teaching methods that contribute to a positive climate and well-being of the students by focusing on intercultural understanding. It is a great opportunity for teachers and for students. Because teachers can cooperate with and learn from more experienced teachers from other parts of the world, and they can also encourage their students and tell them how proud they are of their abilities and accomplishments. So it is truly a unique opportunity for students of any age to open themselves to different kind of teaching styles and learning styles. It is also, from a personal point of view, a challenge and a learning experience and a human adventure. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your eTwinning project.
Thank you, Delora. Also, good luck to you. Thank you for your inspiration. I am wondering now, did you already get an opportunity to check the new eTwinning? Because now will be the change. Yes, so...
Yes, the platform is not working quite well these days, but we have started a new project, a new eTwinning project. So all we did so far was to create accounts for our students and have the first meeting with the teachers who are partners in this project. Well, we still have to figure out many things about the new platform. It's not that easy to work on, but I hope everything will be all right. And we are still learning, you know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, sooner or later it will be functional again. So thank you very much for this last presentation. So with some conclusion words, we are still grateful to the K2 project in Erasmus, which enabled today's conference, heart and hand. In this project, we collect best practices, and you can share your best practice in the conference Padlet, which I gave the link into the comments. I also saw that we inspired you a bit, don't we? Because you uploaded a few presentations during the conference. Thank you very much to those of you who uploaded it. Just don't forget to put us also in the email on the Padlet, because otherwise we don't know where to send the certificate of poster presentation. I would also like to ask you to evaluate the conference today. The link is also in the comments, and also the link for the certificate is still in the comments. The presentations are available in the Facebook group Pan-European Conference on Digital Education. I am very grateful to all of you who attended the conference, and really grateful to all the presenters. The next conference is in October, the last week, the last Thursday, which is 27th of October, so save the date. And we see you then. Thank you, and have a good day.